Today, we'll be going deep and focusing on the more obscure influencers responsible for terrible behavior. From a 19-year-old TikToker and Instagrammer exposed for abusing dogs, to a YouTube motivational speaker accused of touching a child. These are the internet's most obscure yet disgusting influencers. Today's video is sponsored by Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club that delivers curated boxes, top shelf products from around the country. Stuff like this and this bad boy. This is the field knife from Bare Bones found in Bespoke's Terra box. Styled after the traditional Japanese hori-hori, its unique concave back makes this blade useful not just as a knife, but also as a trowel or like a mini shovel. I'm really impressed with the build quality on this thing. Like, the handle is just premium. It really is nice and sturdy. And Bespoke has more than just boxes of knives. They also have boxes containing stuff from hygiene, camping, cooking, you name it. 90% of everything that Bespoke Post sells comes from small up-and-coming brands. Plus, with each purchase you make, you're supporting small businesses. To get started, you take a short quiz and Bespoke will match you up with a box they think you like. You'll get a customized selection of products picked for you, and before it ships out, you can preview what's inside. Decide if you'd like to keep it, swap out products, or skip the month entirely at no charge. Additionally, you can sign up for Bespoke's monthly membership club, which is totally free and can get you up to 30% off of products. Boxes like the Deploy box, which comes with this super handy utility keyring, flathead, Phillips head screwdrivers, even a lighter on this thing. Oh, and the Deploy box also comes with this little grappling device. So think if you dropped your keys down a metal grate or something on the street, you could pull them out with this. And lastly, we have to showcase the sling that's in the Pacer box. With a 2-liter capacity, this thing is perfect for anybody who is active or likes to spend time outside. I personally use it when I'm out and about with my puppy Hank, so I can have easy access to give him a treat if he's being a good boy, of course. So with all that said, get 20% off your first monthly shipment by clicking the link in the description and entering code WAVY20 at checkout, or you can go to bespokepost.com/wavy20.
Stop it.
Tell me what it says.
I will tell you when I find it.
I am fascinated and riveted. I have to know.
Online psychics and fortune tellers are probably one of the bigger grifts in the internet world. You're already a sucker for visiting a psychic in the real world, but imagine thinking some magical online person who says they can see the future will solve your problems. Just go see a goddamn therapist, for Christ's sake. People seek out internet fortune tellers out of desperation and ignorance, and at the end of the day, there's really no harm in a few saps here or there getting fleeced. Or is there? One psychic group is guilty of being more than just grifters. A Savannah, Georgia couple, Michael and Lori Wilson, cultivated an online community by using their psychic skills for tarot card and oracle readings. The majority of social media exposure came from Lori Wilson, who ran separate social media accounts under the name Loretta Lightning Bolt, while Michael Wilson, who at the time was an active duty member of the military, had less of a social media presence, but he also claimed to have had psychic powers. On her accounts, Lori described herself as a witch and would use the account for ASMR makeup tutorials, telling scary stories, showing off her cat, and performing tarot readings. Now, sadly, it seems her partner Michael was participating in devious and deceitful behavior, as within a span of a few years he had been grooming minors using his influence. Soon, he would be accused of attempting to coerce several minors into sexual acts between 2017 and 2019 over the internet using cell phones. One of the victims came to the realization that this just wasn't right and decided to report it to authorities, where an investigation was conducted on Michael by the FBI and the U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Command. However, Lori would try to interrupt the investigation, as from March to September of 2019, she attempted to dissuade the witness, asking her to recant the allegation, manipulating the victim, telling them that the memories they had weren't real, while gaslighting them into thinking they were imagining it, and that it was just a psychic vision. Apparently, Lori wasn't that great of a psychic because these actions did not bode well for her and would lead to Lori being arrested as well as her husband. You'd think she'd have seen this coming. In November of 2019, Michael was charged with 1 count of coercion and enticement of a minor to engage in sexual activity and attempted coercion and enticement of a minor to engage in sexual activity. He was also hit with 7 violations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 120B. rape, and sexual assault of a child, while Lori was just charged with witness tampering. It takes tremendous bravery for a victim to come forward, particularly when that victim is a child, said the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District in Georgia. Lori Wilson further victimized this child by attempting to persuade the victim that it all had been a dream, when Wilson knew she was compounding the child's nightmarish victimization. The Wilsons represent a vile tag team of abhorrent behavior that has no place in civilized society. In coordination with our law enforcement partners, we will work relentlessly to protect potential victims from predators and their enablers. After her arrest, Lori would plead to her audience, e-begging to her followers for money. "I had been put in jail for a crime that I didn't commit. This is not a joke. I need bond and lawyer money because our justice system doesn't work." Lori would later plead guilty to witness tampering, and her lawyers would attempt to persuade the judge to give her time served in probation. The judge declined, and on October 13th of 2020, Lori was sentenced to serve 6 years in prison and is required to pay $20,000 in restitution to the victim. In July of 2020, Michael pled guilty to attempted coercion of a minor, and in December of 2020 was sentenced to serve 15 years in prison. He's required to pay $100,000 each to the 2 victims that he violated.
There are videos on TikTok of this girl twerking in front of her dog's face. It's fucking disgusting.
Content showcasing animal abuse has sadly become more common online in recent years, as more and more freaks openly discuss their sick sexual preferences in niche communities around the web. A disturbing case involving animal and human intermingling has been playing out over the last couple of years. It's the depraved tale of a degenerate female Instagram user, Denise Frazier. In 2023, Denise Frazier was a 19-year-old woman from Myrick, Mississippi.
Hey guys, it's February 20, 2024, and I'm Denise Frazier.
And on the surface, she seemed like your typical young, aspiring female, beauty-adjacent influencer. But what laid underneath the surface was an insidious sexual desire for man's best friend. In some of her videos on TikTok, Denise would record herself twerking in front of her dogs, as well as showing off her various sex toys right after showing footage of these pets, making some pretty disgusting implications along the way. In between the days of February 23rd and February 28th of 2023, Denise was reportedly partaking in bestiality with multiple canines, including a German Shepherd, recording the act on video. One of these videos apparently took place outside of the Freedom Baptist Church in Myrick, Mississippi. These clips reportedly made their way online for the whole world to see, circulating mostly on Snapchat. And as rumors began to rise about Denise and her nefarious actions, she would take to TikTok to deny the allegations, stating, "For all those bitches who have some nerves to say I f***ed my dog, like, nah. The only dog I f***ed was yo boy, so stop saying it if it ain't true. Only my true friends would stick up for me. All I have to say is f*** y'all MFer." Thankfully, eventually due to the severe graphic and illegal nature of the videos, the heinous footage would be reported and found its way to local authorities, who then started compiling evidence against her. Coincidentally enough, while the authorities were building a case on Denise, she was involved in a vehicular accident where she would be pictured with her dog on April 2nd of 2023 at the crash scene. Maybe she got carried away behind the wheel. Not long after the car wreck, police decided to pay her a visit. Denise would then be arrested by local authorities in Jones County, Mississippi on April 5th of 2023, where she was booked on animal cruelty charges that included unnatural intercourse and aggravated cruelty to an animal. It was also reported that 3 of the animals that were in her possession were receiving medical help. In my 17 years of law enforcement, this is one of the most disturbing cases that I've ever investigated, said Sergeant J.D. Carter of the Jones County Sheriff's Department. Jones County Sheriff's Department is in possession of several videos that are so graphic that we are not at liberty to release them or even discuss the particular content, he added. We've never dealt with this particular type of case before. There are really no true words to describe it other than disgusting. So right now, we're still in that initial phase, right past the first part of it, but we're still going to look into it and see if there's more. Frazier would admit it was her in the footage, but would go on to defend her actions by saying that she was forced to partake in the disturbing acts by nefarious online bestiality content purchasers, who she says were paying her to produce the illegal content. She also claimed that the footage was recorded a year prior, but screenshots of iCloud shared shots from the videos conflict with this and show that they were filmed in late February of 2023. There has been no evidence shown that she was actually forced to create these videos. Her bond was set at $25,000 and the young woman was ordered to stay away from animals until her trial. Shortly after posting bond, a Twitter account purporting to be Denise was created and began denying the allegations against the woman. In one of these tweets, the account holder would write, "I'm thinking about becoming vegetarian. People are so cruel to animals." Curiously, this account would find its way into the direct messages of Destiny. Yes, the popular online streamer. Destiny would go on to recruit Denise onto his game show, Kick or Keep, a show that typically consists of other controversial influencers and they fight to win the audience's affection. However, Denise would never appear. There was speculation on Destiny's subreddit that the account wasn't Denise at all and was actually a deepfake account that was using old photos of Denise to masquerade as her online for various purposes. Nonetheless, this account would post non-explicit videos and photos of dogs, but it would eventually be banned in June of 2023. Denise was facing 10 years in prison if convicted, so you'd think the woman would try to stay out of trouble while waiting for her trial. However, people like her never seem to learn from their mistakes, and Miss Bestiality would find herself arrested again in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, almost a year after a previous excursion with the law. It seems more footage was provided to the authorities by an informant showing Miss Frazier again partaking in sexual acts with the canine. However, this time something else would be revealed that would cause this to be even more sickening than before. As it turns out, Denise was pregnant. The alleged video is reported to have shown footage of a very pregnant Denise having sexual relations with a Siberian Husky. It would also be revealed that the footage was recorded around 2 weeks before Denise actually gave birth. So we're not talking her being 3 months pregnant or anything. Denise was literally almost about to give birth while having sex with a dog. Let that sink in. It would be determined that the footage was recorded in Forest County, Mississippi, and on February 29, 2024, Denise was in handcuffs again, arrested on charges of 1 count of attempted unnatural intercourse and 1 count of unnatural intercourse. Police also arrested 18-year-old Skylar English as an accessory after the fact. Denise appeared in court on March 1st of 2024 and was given a $20,000 bond, while Skylar received a $10,000 bond. It was noted by the court that if Denise made her bond in Forest County, she would be taken back to Jones County due to her violating the previous bond she was given from 2023, and that bond was revoked. Shortly after making bail, Skylar would be arrested again on April 17, 2024, after breaking into an adult novelty store. He was charged with 1 count of commercial burglary for this. Denise is still in jail due to her bond being revoked. That being said, there is currently a Twitter account online claiming to be her active right now, and it's advertising a telegram that I am not going into, okay? We're not fucking with that link. This account would post what seem to be verification videos, with Denise speaking and, saying the current date at the time.
January 28, 2024. Hey, I'm Denise Frazier on Twitter. I am tired of the haters.
And that account is still tweeting to this day. However, recently, Redditors were able to get a response from the sheriff's spokesperson, who confirmed that Denise was still locked up. We appreciate your concern about this case, as does the majority of America who is following it. The dogs are safe with vets and representatives of the Humane Society. Miss Frazier has been in custody with no access to the internet since February 29th. As best we can figure, someone else has control of her social media accounts, which we have no control over. Probably the best thing to do is report the accounts to the specific social media companies and then block all of them for your own peace of mind. I hope this helps calm your fears, and rest assured, the Forest County Sheriff's Office is doing everything we are tasked to do to keep our community safe. As for now, Denise remains behind bars awaiting her trial for her multiple charges in the 2 counties that she was accused in. She's facing quite a bit of prison time, and more than likely, given that she's a repeat offender, she's gonna get some good time. Probably a few years in a women's penitentiary, hopefully. If Denise truly is guilty of what she's accused of, I hope this crazy dog violator gets a serious sentence.
So basically, a 19-year-old girl is married to an 89-year-old man. She's the caretaker and he's the patient, and he has dementia, okay?
One of the most controversial Twitter users to pop up during the COVID-19 lockdown era was an account named BeansHype. This 19-year-old woman would become the subject of a controversy after admitting she had plans to marry an 89-year-old man who had dementia. This individual residing at the assisted living facility that she worked as a nursing aide at. In 2020, Olivia Stone was a 19-year-old woman. One of the elderly patients she would interact with and assist was 89-year-old widower Lee Hopkins. You see, Hopkins and his previous wife had lived at the assisted living facility together until 2017, when Lee tragically lost his wife in a car accident after he had picked her up from a local rehab facility. They had wrecked on the way home. Lee managed to survive the car accident after a passerby had found their car on the side of the highway and rescued him. In an article from 2017, it was reported that his wife was suffering from dementia at the time as well, and that Lee was also showing early stages of the disease. Now, enter nursing aide Olivia Stone. Now, according to this woman, she had more than just befriended the demented elderly man. They had something of a budding relationship, and online posts regarding this would cause much concern. Olivia would take to the internet to explain how the elderly man was a retired superintendent and had accumulated a decent amount of wealth during his long life. In July of 2020, on Olivia's Twitter account, which was at BeansHype or Miss Vagina Jones, she would post about potentially marrying Mr. Hopkins, writing, "Why am I considering this? He is 90 years old. What is wrong with me, laughing my fucking ass off?" To which another user replies, "Do it, get the bag, sis." In direct messages exchanged with the group chat that she was in, Olivia would also write, "I asked him what he actually wants our relationship to be, and we talked about the emotional aspect, and then he did say that if I wanted to do any sexual activities, then he wants me to feel comfortable talking about that with him." She would continue by saying, "I'd like to stay for a few more months at least if I can." To which another user would reply, "Wait, so marriage within the next, year? I didn't realize that it was that serious." And Olivia would reply with, "Michael, if we get married, I would be the sole person who gets his inheritance." And as you can see from that screenshot, there were multiple emoji reactions to this particular message. On August 12th of 2020, Olivia insinuated publicly that a sexual relationship between her and the elderly widower had begun by tweeting this out. "Trigger warning, horny and old man. No man ever has an excuse to spend less than 2 hours downstairs again. If your great grandpa can do it, then you can too." Olivia was using her Twitter account as a public diary of sorts in regards to her budding relationship with this elderly gentleman. On August 24th, she would tweet out, "I'm going to piss and shit and vomit on myself. Lee has so much fucking money. Fucking hell, I've literally been homeless before." Yeah, it really appears that her heart is in the right place here, doesn't it, guys? Later in August, Olivia can be seen engaging in what appears to be flirtatious behavior with other users on Twitter. In fact, when one user replied to her, quote, "Aren't you engaged?" she replied back with, "Bro, he could die before Christmas. Lamau." Another flirtatious reply was Olivia writing this, "Okay, send me your meat." To which another user replied with, "I'm telling Lee." And Olivia then wrote, "What is he gonna do? Forget?" So reading these tweets, you get the impression that Olivia wasn't really in this for love and kinda just saw the whole thing as a joke. Or perhaps something even more nefarious. In another tweet posted September 1st of 2020, Olivia wrote, "Why did Lee just refer to my pussy as love flesh? I'm going to piss myself." Olivia also tweeted about how difficult it was to get a hold of Lee's social security number, writing, "Okay, I know this is extremely sensitive information, but it shouldn't be this hard to find someone's social security number. Like, he doesn't have any tax documents because he's been retired so long. Can't apply for a new card, doesn't have it in any medical records, like, damn, what the fuck is that bitch?" In another tweet from September 11th of 2020, Olivia would insinuate that her and Lee were about to get married. Nobody can call me a gold digger because I'm spending almost $4,000 on Lee's wedding band, and God forbid, but this man could literally die next week. Lee and I are going to a few jewelers tomorrow to see if we can find a way to take the diamonds from his ring from his late wife and put them in his wedding ring from me, and I'm really excited. That's such a precious and loving way to honor us both. God damn, this bitch, bro. She also talked about how her and Lee were having to communicate with the bank together because, you know, naturally the bank believed that Mr. Hopkins was being taken advantage of. Okay, currently my 90-year-old fiance and I are getting married Sunday, but we will probably have to fight litigation from the big rich boys bank in court. Who wants to screenwrite this one? Wait, why would you have to fight litigation? His bank doesn't like me because I'm so much younger than him and they think that I'm going to take advantage of him. On October 7th of 2020, Olivia could be seen bragging about how much younger she was than Lee's step-grandson, tweeting out, "My step-grandson is 13 years older than me and I have step-great-grandchildren." On October 9th, she would thirstily reply underneath another man's tweet by saying, "When I'm widowed, do you want me?" A few days later, Olivia tweeted about her boyfriend's declining mental health. Speaking of Mr. Hopkins, of course, claiming that he was reverting back to his prior profession as a superintendent. Lee is confused this morning, and we handed him a glass of tea, and he said, "Do you know what's in this glass?" And we said it's tea, and he said, "No, it's desire." So today is going to be interesting, I think. He used to be a superintendent in Memphis, and I think when we woke him up suddenly, he went back to that because he thinks Rosalind is a teacher and he thinks I'm a student, and he's giving us a speech about needing to get the job done. A day after tweeting this, Olivia Stone would publicly reveal that she was officially married to the 89-year-old widower, as she tweeted out, "We are married," and showed a picture of her and Lee on their wedding day. It was this tweet, you know, the one that confirmed Olivia wasn't joking around, it set the internet on fire. She really did go through with it. The news would begin to spread all over the web, going viral, appearing everywhere from Twitter to Reddit to 4chan. Naturally, Olivia got a great deal of pushback, as many claim she was taking advantage of an elderly man with dementia. In response to the backlash, she would have much to say, as she attempted to defend herself online. In one reply, she would state, "Do you know anything about dementia, or do you just assume it's all stage 7 Alzheimer's? Usually he doesn't know what day of the month it is and calls me Ola. His cognitive state is not a question at all." And Olivia says this despite the fact that she has previously insinuated that Mr. Hopkins frequently suffered from serious memory loss in prior postings that she has issued to Twitter. And secondly, this girl has no room to comment about the stage of someone's dementia. As far as I'm aware, she is not a physician. The internet was furious, and the massive amount of pushback would begin to take its toll. Olivia would eventually deactivate her Twitter account and went missing in action. Internet sleuths would manage to get a hold of her full name, as well as other identifying details. Further confirmation of the marriage was found, as Olivia and Lee's proof of marriage was discovered online. On the same day that this was posted, Twitter user Jack William RTF would create a massive thread. In the thread, Jack detailed the entire timeline of the Olivia Stone saga, spelling out everything that had happened from July to October of 2020. He wrote, "Okay, this is a thread to try to give just the facts of what is going on with the now deactivated account BeansHype, the 19-year-old girl who married her 89-year-old boo this weekend in Arkansas. I've collected as many screenshots as I can and will present them in chronological order." His tweet went viral and spread awareness over the situation. As the thread got traction, Jack would post various updates, with more screenshots that were provided from others who had been looking into the case. This story would eventually go cold, with it being something of a mystery as to what happened with Olivia and Mr. Hopkins. Jack, the creator of that big thread, would tweet out in a reply to someone that he frequently checks the obituaries in Russellville, Arkansas to see if Mr. Hopkins has passed away. And at the time of this post in 2022, it seems that he still is alive. As for Olivia, everything seems to have gone quiet on her end, and she stayed totally out of the public eye. So the question is, are they still married? Well, I can't find any evidence of an annulment or a divorce. And as far as we're aware, Mr. Hopkins is still alive. It's impossible to say what Olivia's true motives were for going through with this unusual marriage. Needless to say, some of the comments issued from the BeansHype Twitter account certainly don't paint the greatest picture for her.
At the end of the day, I'm just trying to inform the public about the rights that you have as an American citizen.
First Amendment auditors are somewhat infamous online. These guys are activists/journalists who tend to test the waters in public when it comes to their own constitutional rights.
Leave.
Is anyone allowed to walk in this building? Is it public?
No, this is a private. It's a private.
So anyone can come in here, right?
Anyone can come in here.
I was just going to ask
They
why.
can come in here.
Is that right? That's not the law, sir.
Normally it's done when someone goes into a public building and starts recording people, which then causes protests due to, people not wanting to be filmed. The auditor would then proceed to invoke his First Amendment right, usually causing a ruckus, and then the authorities would be called. A lot of these auditors tend to shadow police officers in a stated effort to make sure that these policemen are doing their job and not violating the rights of others.
They ready to kill law-abiding citizens, that's it.
Sir, can you not record people's names?
Okay, what's your name?
My
Rossi?
name is Officer Rossi.
Right, Officer Rossi.
These are other people that have been in the building.
Oh, wow.
That aren't actually employees.
So I'd like to make a
here,
public
so-
records request with you then.
With me?
I want a
You'd
copy
have to
of that log
you'd
right
have to
there.
make a public record request with our records
Actually, Florida
department.
Statute 119 says that whoever receives it can forward it on, Officer Rossi.
Okay, I will get a hold of my supervisor for you.
You sure will. That complaint form's for you now.
One particular auditor who was gaining popularity on YouTube would get into loads of trouble that would lead to an arrest. And it's not for overstepping his bounds with police, it's for something else entirely. At the time, 20-year-old Anthony Michael Wickless, aka Minnesota Guardian, was known as what you would call a First Amendment auditor on YouTube, meaning he would record police and other public officials doing their daily duties and attempt to hold them accountable, making sure that they followed the law.
Yo, what's up, guys? Minnesota Guardian here. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going to public buildings, and we're going to go inside and exercise our First Amendment right to film in a public area and use our First Amendment. So right now we're heading to Falcon, is it Falcon Heights, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Falcon Heights City Hall, and we're gonna go piss off some libtards because they don't like our First Amendment rights. That's true.
It's a massive genre on the platform that is responsible for millions of views, as many channels participate in this initiative. Some go by the book, while others are just straight up clout chasers and are irresponsible. Wickless would be in the latter category. Anthony created his YouTube channel in January of 2019, and by the time that year was over, he had about 14,000 subscribers and 2.2 million views.
She's doing her job.
Okay.
She would probably give me her name if I didn't have my camera in my hand. So I'm being treated different because I'm expressing my rights. That's not really fair, is it? No. 651-7731. This is going to be seen by thousands of people, and they're probably going to call you about your service. Are you ready for the calls? Because they'll call.
While participating in these controversial exercises, he found himself in and out of trouble with the law. In March of 2019, he would tell officers that he frequently goes to government buildings to test how they'll respond to someone exercising their First Amendment right, and that he records the interactions and posts them to YouTube. In September of 2019, Anthony was cited by a policeman for disorderly conduct, but the case was dismissed after a month passed. In another case from September of 2019, Wickless allegedly went inside the St. Paul City Hall annex to record and question the staff. During this audit, one employee asked him to stop recording, but he continued, and even came right up onto her desk. She would later tell police that she was scared for her safety. In October of 2019, Anthony stationed himself at the entrance of a St. Paul mosque, and he began filming people. In the video that was posted to YouTube, Anthony mentioned pulling out a taser. In November of 2019, Anthony received a trespassing notice from the Highland Park Public Library for filming children without authorized consent. He had also been kicked out of multiple businesses as well. The local news had become interested in covering Anthony, but that didn't stop him from being super confrontational with them as well.
No.
That's really a rude thing to ask somebody.
For you to
Also,
smile in a picture?
If you don't, I am going to call the police.
But I'm focused on Fox 9.
Why?
Fake news.
Just get in the car, man. Just giving you.
Call your dog back in. Call your dog back in.
Whoa! Hey! Whoa! What did you just say?
I said call your dogs back in.
What does that even mean?
It means have your dog stand down.
As Anthony continuously found himself entangled with the law due to his boisterous presence and the need to film public officials, he gained quite a reputation throughout the area. However, Anthony's actions in 2021 would lead to him being charged with something far more serious. And this time it wasn't due to him showing up and recording. It was a crime that he had committed off camera. On July 18th of 2021, a woman was allegedly approached by Anthony after she had been removed from a residence by St. Paul police due to a mental health crisis, where she had been found knocking on random doors at an apartment building. It turned out Anthony had heard about the incident on his police scanner and went to offer her a ride home, telling her that he was trained in, quote, de-escalation skills. Although he never referred to himself as a cop, the woman saw the police scanner in tactical gear in his Crown Vic sedan and felt as if he was some sort of security officer, so she thought it was safe to go with him. Anthony then agreed to drive her to her father's house in a nearby town in Minnesota. At first, things seemed normal, but soon this car ride would take a perverse turn when Anthony presented a proposition where he offered the woman $50 to $100 to perform oral sex on him. During this incident, he allegedly proceeded to pull out his penis in an effort to masturbate, while reaching over to massage the woman's breast over her shirt. "You know you want me," he allegedly said to her. The woman would allegedly refuse advances multiple times during the car ride, reportedly pushing the man's hand away. In response to being turned down, Wickless began to drive aggressively, eventually pulling over on a residential street in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. After parking, he demanded that the woman get out of the car. She was reluctant to do this because it was dark outside and she just wished that he would take her home. When she hesitates, Anthony gets violent and tries to force her out. When she refused to go along with his advances, Anthony, a man who claimed to have been an expert in de-escalation tactics, made the decision to do the exact opposite, allegedly reaching for a stun gun and jolting her in the back with it. It was reported that as the panicked woman struggled to get out of the vehicle, Anthony allegedly slammed the door on her as she was trying to exit. Once she got out, the man drove away, leaving the woman alone in this dark area that she wasn't familiar with. At around 11:30 p.m., a White Bear Lake police officer was flagged down by the woman. She told the officer that she had just been assaulted by a man who had offered her a ride home, and as she told the story, the officer noticed that the woman still had a prong from the stun gun in the back of her shirt, along with 2 visible spots of blood. After recounting the incident to the officers, she was then able to provide police with the license plate number, and it wouldn't be long before authorities tracked down the man. Anthony was later arrested at his home in St. Paul, Minnesota on July 20th of 2021. Shortly before this arrest, they had found a civilian model stun gun, pepper spray, and body armor in his vehicle. He was then charged with 1 count of assault with a dangerous weapon, as well as criminal sexual conduct in the 5th degree. His bail was set at $60,000. During all of this, Anthony would take down all of his YouTube content. In May of 2022, Anthony took a plea deal, pleading guilty to 5th degree assault and 5th degree non-consensual sexual contact in exchange for a stay of execution. During the sentencing trial, it would be revealed that Anthony admitted to touching the breast and tasing the woman, but not masturbating. Before sentencing, Anthony would publicly apologize for his actions.
I take full responsibility for the awful decisions I made that night at the incident. I could make a lot of excuses about what happened, but the truth is I made a terrible decision. I have since got a job, although it was hard because of the pending court case and my terrible actions, but I have been working to keep myself busy and make money to work on getting my own apartment so that way I can start creating more responsibilities for myself to keep me on the right path and to focus on the right things.
And on June 28th of 2022, he was given 2 years of supervised probation, where he would not be allowed to use the internet unless approved by his probation officer prior. Anthony reportedly would violate his probation in December of 2022 and ended up serving 126 days in the Ramsey County Workhouse, being released in June of 2023. After this, he would be arrested yet again, and on September 14th of 2023 was charged with 2 felonies and 3 gross misdemeanors due to a criminal vehicular operation. He was sentenced to 136 days in county jail and placed on supervised probation for 3 years.
If I write it, they bite it publicly. Can't fight it, I might hit you bugging me. If you like it, I love it, it's lovely. Kid brings on a psychic, she ugly.
Motivational influencers are a dime a dozen on the internet. Many take advantage of viewers by trying to manipulate them through stories of struggle and overcoming adversity, only to put their strategies behind a paywall to make as much money as possible through books and online services. One particular motivational influencer was Brother Polight, who is considered a strong figure within the online Black community. However, in all reality, Brother Polight would be found to be more of a blight to his own community rather than an inspiration, as his whole brand would dissolve into ashes due to allegations of him targeting a minor. This is the story of Polight, aka Michael Nowak Jr. At the time of this story unfolding, 37-year-old Michael Nowak Jr., aka Brother Polight, was a motivational speaker and author. In his younger years, Mr. Nowak was a gangbanger in New York City, who was at one point locked up for attempted murder.
It was just a lot of chaos. The children felt they should inherit the building of their father. The man gave me the building to run, and he gave me other responsibilities, and it was being overridden, and it was people in the community making sure that I don't get that space in leadership. They made my task very hard. It started to escalate so much that in turn, when guns is being pulled out on people or people are threatening people, one of the brothers got shot in his head. Of course, I was blamed for the shooting.
Okay.
So I got locked up for it.
Later in life, Michael apparently left that lifestyle behind and made it his mission to bring up and inspire people in the Black community, becoming a motivational speaker and influencer. He's the founder of the so-called New Covenant, which is a group that focuses on people coming together and reaching enlightenment through spirituality and financial independence. Quote, "Though highly spiritual, we have no specific tie with anyone, monotheistic or polytheistic denomination. Our incentive is to reestablish economical sovereignty back into the lives of the people that need it the most. We ask that you entertain the precept of spiritual economics. To substantiate all precepts, we lead by example." The man was also known for being a big critic of the Black Hebrew Israelites, an extremist group that believe Black people are the descendants of ancient Israelites. You've seen these guys in public before.
There's no such thing as anything that's mixed. You are what your father is. So at the end of the day, my father, who would he be on this chart? He would be considered a so-called Puerto Rican. He would be considered a Taino Indian. If that answers your question. So what is it? It's 100% according to God. Not your God, the white man, but the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
All right, hold on. Because I know Puerto Rico means rich port. And there wasn't no goddamn Puerto Rico in the Bible during Jesus' time. So we're not gonna talk about no damn Puerto Ricans.
Michael has written over 90 motivational books and given many interviews on YouTube. The seemingly innocuous, charismatic figure would become quite prevalent on social media, garnering over 310,000 followers on Instagram. In a big interview with DJ Vlad, Nowak was given the opportunity to speak in a more candid fashion about his personal life, and he revealed much, explaining that he was a polygamist and had over 4 wives, and at the time of the interview, he was courting 2 more.
You're married?
Yeah.
But you're married to more than one person?
This is correct.
So you have a polygamous relationship?
In a de facto sense, yeah.
You have how many wives?
I have 4, and then I'm courting 2 more.
Now, polygamy is not legal in the United States outside of some religious exceptions, specifically with Mormons. So he wasn't technically legally married to any of these women, but let's just say the spiritual prophet kept some ladies around. And things get freakier. It should also be noted that Michael is a reported protege of Black supremacist Malachi Z. York, a man who was arrested back in 2002 for transporting minors across state lines with the purpose of sexual molestation. This case would be reported as the largest prosecution for child molestation directed at one single person. Michael would publicly defend Mr. York in a video against an actual victim of molestation.
None of these children had enough sense in their mind to go tell their parent that this isn't right. I've been touched sexually, I've been sexually abused. Not one child out of all these children. It could have stopped so long ago if just one child or just one adult. What caused all of this to come out? First you hear nothing from nobody. Yeah. You hear nothing from nobody. Then you hear something from everybody, all at the same time.
They might not have been the medium to talk to anybody about the situation.
Not even their parents.
I mean, that's why, of course. I could have told my mother.
We chose not to.
He would even go on to say that if York was really a confirmed child molester, he would still worship him.
Let's say he molested 1,000 children. Factually. Okay. Genetic evidence and everything. Things that we don't deny. Scientifically, we say, wow, okay, true. If someone was to ask me, would you still worship him as your Most High, acknowledge him as your Most High God? I would have to.
Soon, the brand that Michael had worked hard on building would topple over. The way the story goes is that one night, Michael had asked his girlfriend if he could take the woman's 14-year-old daughter to an after party at a club in Miami. It would later be claimed that the mother was under the impression that Michael was going to take the daughter to have a sort of one-on-one conversation about respecting her mother. When he took the 14-year-old out, he would allegedly attempt to get the teen to perform oral sex on him. However, at some point, the girl passed out, be it from alcohol or whatever, and she woke up to Michael trying to get her to throw up. It would be leaked later that Michael's girlfriend had called him at least 50 times while the daughter was gone, trying to figure out where she was and where they had gone, but he never answered. She started to panic, but eventually her daughter would arrive home. Something seemed off, as Michael's girlfriend would find her daughter still intoxicated with severe swelling around her mouth. After confronting Michael, he reportedly begged her not to go to the police, as it would ruin his career. Police were made aware of the situation and served Michael with a DNA warrant in June. And on August 16th of 2021, he surrendered himself to the authorities, where he was charged with engaging with a 14-year-old child for sex, sexual battery, child abuse, and delinquency of a minor. Michael's defense attorney, David Torres, was adamant that his client was innocent. Once the evidence is produced, he's going to be exonerated. So yeah, not guilty, nothing else. We have no doubt that he is not this person. We're going to get him past this and back on with his life. A content creator and friend of Michael named Sawnetter TV would call Michael while live on stream. And during this call, Michael denied the claims and said that he was no weirdo.
Yeah, people are talking crazy that you had molested a 14-year-old girl. I don't know how true it is. That's why I said I'm not going to jump out the window. I'm not saying none of that until we can find out what's really good. And I don't know if you want to talk, or we could set something up probably tomorrow whenever you stop traveling or whatever.
You know we don't play those games. Just like this was coming at me before the goofy shit before.
Okay.
You know, when people make serious allegations like that, you know YouTube ain't the place where you deal with it.
Got you. I got
you. Know, I
you.
stay with our own fucking legal team. You know what I'm saying?
Say less.
But what I'll tell you is this. You know, I ain't no fucking weirdo. You see all the beautiful, voluptuous people I be with.
Yeah.
So I ain't a weirdo.
During one of the early hearings, Michael was ordered not to have any contact with the victim through social media or any third party. Further investigation would confirm that his DNA was on the girlfriend's daughter. In September of 2023, Michael would post on Instagram claiming that his charges were dropped and that an update would be coming soon. He even put out a music video at this time, you know, kind of like a celebration that he had gotten off. Michael had actually accepted a plea deal, and on September 7th of 2023 was sentenced to 7 years in prison and 10 years of probation, along with having to pay a $25,000 restitutional fine. Even with this being discovered by people following his case, brother Polight would again post to Instagram celebrating the plea deal, claiming that the sexual charges had been dropped and that he was only charged with child abuse and delinquency of a minor.
The mother and the daughter and the prosecution dropped every single sexual charge. I'm saying it again. The mother, the daughter, my accusers, in addition to the state, the prosecution, all agreed they need to drop all of the sexual charges. So yeah, it's a victory, but it's bittersweet. It's a victory because I was facing life. No parole, no probation. Now you may say, how could this be possible? if a minor was so-called molested and it was DNA evidence. And people say DNA don't lie. And I always said, people do.
A voice clip from the mother of the daughter that Michael was accused of raping would leak to the internet.
For a grown man to violate a child who trusted him, you should be ashamed of yourself. You plotted on me and my little girl. The entire time you knew what you planned to do. Isolate, intoxicate, then violate my baby. Shame on you. I trusted you to bring her right back.
Brother Polight would chime in with this on his social media. The irony, I dropped out of school, 9th grade. It took for me to be in prison for me to get my high school diploma. They took 2 years off my time. I'll see you guys a lot sooner than you think. Great news to come. Thank you all for the love and support. From prison, it seems that he's still trying to come up with some sort of hustle or business, advertising a $2,000 mentorship on his YouTube channel with audio that sounds like it was recorded from a prison phone. A user comments, "Dude is in jail, don't waste your money."
It's like God giving us meat. We're not really supposed to eat meat. We're supposed to eat the fruits of our labor that was given to Adam and Eve.
Scamming influencers have become more prevalent in recent years. But what about when an online scammer turns into a full-on mobster and decides to kidnap one of his rivals? This is the story of New Jersey influencer Jay Mazini. In 2021, Jay Mazini, also known as Igbara Jabara from Edgewater, New Jersey, was a famous Instagram influencer who had garnered a fan base consisting of over 1 million followers to his platform. Jay was known mostly for handing out cash to random people on the streets as gifts, portraying an earnest entrepreneur who wanted to help people in need with the use of his Muslim faith and his vast wealth. Some examples would be him distributing large sums of money to shoppers in grocery stores, fast food restaurant employees, and a woman he had encountered at an airport who had lost her purse. However, behind this innocuous veneer was a methodical sociopath that wouldn't let anyone get in his way of making money. You see, Mazini wasn't actually a trustworthy entrepreneur. He was actually laundering money. He would carry out multiple fraud schemes that scammed investors out of at least $8 million using the fake online persona that he created to trap these investors. He also used the tactic that has been identified as affinity fraud, which is using one's religion or ethnic background to gain trust. Authorities claim that Mr. Igbara used the company named Halal Capital LLC for an investment scheme. Portraying himself as a successful investor, he solicited money from the Muslim American community, quote, for purported investments in stock, electronics resale, and the sale of personal protective equipment, unquote. However, it was all a Ponzi scheme, and the man spent nearly all the money on himself, including buying luxury vehicles and gambling. In late 2020, his scamming practices would become more commonly known after he was reported on by YouTuber CoffeeZilla, who accused Mazini of operating a prize scam, as well as exposing the fact that Mazini had not only been banned by PayPal but was offering to buy a PayPal business account at the time. Coffee would go on to calculate how much money Mazini had promised, and it was over $100 million as opposed to the money he would gain, which was only $7 million. Something wasn't adding up. It was also reported in a lawsuit that Jay had claimed to have had millions of dollars in cash robbed from him at gunpoint, and said that he wouldn't be able to make the payments towards investors.
According to this lawsuit, the entire fund that he raised was $10 million in funding from people. So this isn't like chump change. This isn't like, oh, I had some spare change lying around that I could afford to lose. These are people's life savings that are invested with this man, this con man. And what do they get out of it? By November 7th, 2020, people are starting to get super aggressive. I mean, they've like been yanked around forever. So they're saying like, you gotta pay us now. Well, the payments were scheduled for August, didn't happen. Then August 22nd, pay attention guys, pay attention. Jay Mazini advised Nord that he had been robbed at gunpoint. Hey, does anybody buy that? So, I'm supposed to give you your money. I was going to give it to you, but oops, I was robbed. I mean, this rivals, what's his name? Oh, Jesse Smollett's whole thing of like, I was like hung by a noose or whatever. Like, this is that level of like a lie.
As CoffeeZilla continued to cover Mazini, interviewing his alleged victims of fraud, Jay would completely deactivate his Instagram. But it would only get worse, as Jay would turn to violence. At some point, Mazini got into a beef with a rival, reportedly named Amjad Mashal. This individual allegedly threatened to blow the whistle on the illegal schemes that the influencer was participating in. You see, it was reported that a page promoting Mazini as a scammer started to get a lot of traction, and Amjad took credit for being the creator of this page. Later, he would say in an interview that he actually didn't have access to the page and that he was just having a little bit of fun with it.
He literally deceived his own Muslim community. Now it's just slowly circulating that Jay Mazini is a fraud. Jay Mazini is a fraud. He tried so hard to delete comments. He tried to block people. He tried to shut it out. This one page comes up, Jay Mazini scam. I start posting the page, and I started a rumor that I had the page. I felt like it could get me into trouble, but I was like, hey, this is fun. Why not? Let me just go along with it.
But nonetheless, Mazini took this very seriously, and in retaliation, almost like a mobster, he devised a plan to kidnap and intimidate this person through violence. Mazini did just that, reaching out to Mashal, feigning that he'd like to talk it out with him. Jay allegedly arranged to meet with Mashal on March 15, 2021 to discuss their differences over coffee at 7-Eleven. While there, Mashal would get into Mazini's Range Rover, and that's when two other accomplices that were wearing masks joined him. They then kidnapped Mashal, taking him on a ride through North Jersey. At some point, Mashal jumped out of the vehicle, but he was dead-ended. This foot race eventually resulted in Mashal going to the second floor of a building and jumping off of it to try to get away from his pursuers. He sprained his ankle in the process, and the group was able to catch back up to him. When they did, they stomped him out and put him back in the car. During this ride, the victim was beaten to the point where he developed a concussion. Surveillance footage showed the victim attempting to escape multiple times as Mazini's vehicle traveled from Edgewater to Cliffside Park and Fort Lee. The victim was reportedly told, quote, "If you call the police, I will kill you," and he was allegedly strangled with the cord, threatened with a machete, and stripped naked. After some time, he would be thrown out of the vehicle and left in Passaic County. Mazini and one of his accomplices would be arrested on March 17th of 2021 on charges of kidnapping, aggravated assault, luring or enticing of an adult, possession of a weapon for unlawful purpose, criminal coercion, threat to inflict bodily injury, endangering an injured victim, and terroristic threats, threats of crime or violence. A week after being charged with kidnapping, another controversy would impede his online career, as Jay would finally be charged with being part of a multi-million-dollar Bitcoin scheme. Federal authorities announced that he was being accused of soliciting the cryptocurrency from followers through Instagram videos, starting in early January of 2021. Jay promised that if people sent him Bitcoin, he would pay them back 5% over market, but ended up never reimbursing anyone for these trades, allegedly defrauding his fans of $2.5 million. Quote, "Ibarra uses immense social media popularity to dupe his followers into selling him Bitcoin. This office will continue to work closely with its law enforcement partners to stop fraudsters like the defendant from perpetrating social media scams that prey on innocent victims." It was also discovered that Jay was offering to transfer $3 million to one victim, when in reality he only had $162 in his bank account. The judge would determine that Jay was a potential flight risk and declined to administer any sort of bail for the scandalous influencer, claiming that his release would create a significant danger to the alleged victim and the community. Authorities would also accuse Mazini's wife, a woman named Jonama Denoyne, of gathering personal information about the assigned judge on his case. Phone data seized by investigators allegedly shows the wife Googling the judge's name, his family, his work history, etc. The prosecutor deemed this as a perceived threat, and the case was moved out of Bergen County and into Passaic County, with a different presiding judge over it. Later, on July 14th of 2021, Mazini's wife would be brought in on charges of kidnapping and conspiracy to commit kidnapping, as well as witness tampering and bribery. Speaking of bribery, another twist in this story is that the victim, Amjad Mashal, would actually be brought in on charges in September of 2022, when it was found that Mazini had allegedly offered a bribe through another person to Mashal to recant his statement for $100,000. For this fee, Mashal would change his statement, facilitating the release of one of the defendants. Mashal would be arrested on these bribery charges. Jay would cut a deal with the prosecution and pled guilty to 1 count of first-degree kidnapping in exchange for a 5-year prison sentence. One of Jay's co-conspirators, Ishamir Alin, also pled guilty in Passaic County Superior Court to the charge of third-degree criminal restraint in exchange for a 3-year prison sentence. On November 2nd of 2022, Jay would plead guilty to wire fraud conspiracy, and money laundering. On April 24, 2024, Jay would be sentenced to serve 7 years in prison due to the charges brought onto him from his crypto fraud and money laundering. The sentence also mandates that Jay must forfeit over $10 million. And well, you've made it to the end. Let me know what you guys thought about this video down below in the comments section, and let me know who or what you want me to talk about next. I want to give a major shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys. WAVYWEBSURF out. Peace.